welcome back to Books with Brandywine. I am really excited about this video because I have been wanting to do this video for, I think, like 7 months. So this is the announcement video for, or not the announcement video, it's my TBR video for the O.W.L.s Readathon 2019. And if you don't know what this Readathon is, it's put on by Book Roast. I believe last year was the first year, but I found out about it, I think it was in August or October, because they do the O.W.L.s at the beginning of the year in April, and then they do the Newts later in the year, and then for Christmas, she also did a Christmas at Hogwarts magical readathon. And so I found out about it during the Newts, but in order to participate in the Newts, you have to do the O.W.L.s first, because the Newts are based off of what your exam level was on the O.W.L.s. And so I've been waiting and waiting to get to do it. Now there's only one problem. The readathon takes place during April, and if you've seen my previous videos, you know that in April I'm going to be reading all of the Shakespeare plays. And if I'm reading all of Shakespeare's plays, I'm not going to have time to read other books. So I've been thinking about it, and I finally decided the best way to do both is to do the magical readathon, but have all of the books for each prompt be Shakespeare plays or somehow related to Shakespeare. That way, I can still read all of the Shakespeare plays, and I can get to do the readathon. And then for the Newts and like the Christmas one and next year's O.W.L.s, I will get to do regular books that are non-Shakespeare related. So, I did not decide what I want my career to be, because I am so focused on trying to read the Shakespeare plays. So what I'm going to do is read as many of the different subjects as I can, and then figure out what careers those subjects apply to, and that will be my career for the Newts that come out later this year. So there are 12 different subjects, so 12 different books. The first subject was Ancient Runes, and the prompt for that one was to find a retelling of anything. So I chose Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which is a play, and I really want to see the movie, but it's not on Netflix. But this is a retelling of Hamlet. And so if you're familiar with Hamlet, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern were two guys in the book that used to be his friends when he was in school, and he no longer associates with them or even really likes them. But his stepdad / uncle decides to hire them to spy on him and to get him killed, but then he ends up getting them killed. So it's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, and it's supposed to be like a comedy, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Then the next one is Arithmancy, and that was a book that was written by two authors. And for that, I chose Henry VIII, which was written by Shakespeare, and I wrote down his name and I forgot to have it ready. What was his name? You're going to get to see me search through my journal. Henry VIII. Oh, John Fletcher. So it was a collaboration between William Shakespeare and John Fletcher. So two authors. And then for Charms, it was Read an Adult Book. So basically all of the Shakespeare plays count as that one, but I chose specifically The Tempest. And I've read this one before. I read it a few times, I think, when I was in high school. It is my favorite Shakespeare play, and so I'm looking forward to getting to reread that one. Defense Against the Dark Arts was for the spell Reducto. So it was to read a book that starts with R. And for that, I chose Richard III. I've never read this one before, but it sounds like it's like Richard III is the villain, and it's from his point of view. So I'm actually really curious about that. I don't usually read books that are from the villain's point of view, so that will be new for me. And then for Potions, it was Next Ingredient. And so it was to read a book that was a sequel. And for that, I chose Henry IV Part 2, because it is a sequel to Henry IV Part 1, obviously. And then for Astronomy, it was to pick a book with star in the title. And so for that, I chose William Shakespeare's Star Wars. I know it wasn't really written by William Shakespeare, but it's written in the style of William Shakespeare, and I love Star Wars, and so I'm looking forward to that one. Transfiguration was to read a book with a red cover or sprayed edges, and so I'm reading Titus Andronicus, which is very red, if you can see that. It is very red. Okay. And then Care of Magical Creatures was to read a book with a land animal on the cover. And I was fully expecting to read a book with a horse on the cover, but apparently none of my Shakespeare books have horses on the cover. But I found one, exactly one, that has land animal, and it was Two Gentlemen of Verona, and there's a dog on the cover, which is definitely a land animal. Okay, Herbology was to read a book with plants on the cover. And so I'm reading The Winter's Tale, and if you can see, there are flowers. There's like, it's not, there it is. It's like a whole bouquet thing of flowers, and there's flowers in her hair. So plants. Okay. And then for Muggle Studies, it was to read a contemporary. So I am reading Julie and Romeo, which is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but this time they are flower sellers, and there's going to be very much tension. I'm kind of hoping it'll be like a happily ever after version of Romeo and Juliet, but who knows, maybe the flower sellers will die. And then for A History of Magic, it was to read a book that was published over 10 years ago, and for that one I chose As You Like It, which was published in 1963. So that was definitely over 10 years ago. And then for the last subject, it was Divination, and it was to read a book that is set in the future. And for that one, I will be reading the graphic novel Romeo and Juliet, The War, which was written, it was a collaboration between Stan Lee and other people that I can't remember right now, but I will put in the comments, in the description. And so it's supposed to be like the Montagues are cyborgs, and the Capulets are genetically enhanced, and obviously it's like the full Romeo and Juliet story. He even kept most of the actual Shakespeare language in the book, so I'm really, really looking forward to it. I've seen some screenshots of it, and the pictures are absolutely gorgeous, and so I'm really looking forward to reading that one. So I've chosen 12 different books for the 12 different subjects. I think most of these I'll actually be able to get done pretty easily. And so hopefully I will be able to have the whole entire readathon done. I will let you guys know in the wrap up that will be at the end of April. This readathon is going until the very last day of April, which I think is the 30th. And I'm pretty sure it starts on April 1st. I know last year started on April 2nd, so I'm not entirely sure. But you'll be seeing this video on April 2nd or April 3rd, either way. And so, I'm so excited. I'm finally getting to do the O.W.L.s readathon. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a happy Shakespeare month.